From the minute the coach said to me, Sheri, I need you to come out here and pitch, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was 7 years old. I said, what do I do, coach? And he told me. After that first pitch that I threw, I fell in absolute love with it. And I had that passion.
For the 7-year-old Sheri Russell, that pitcher's mound was the center of the universe. And it would continue to be so through youth games in high school and summer ball and on into college. Sheri Russell demanded much of herself, much of her right arm, much of her pitching arm. She was a slingshot-style pitcher, not windmill, slingshot. And she threw the drop ball, and hitters couldn't touch it. On the mound for ULowell, Sheri Russell was terrific. She won 27 games in 1986, still the school record, and she took the Chiefs to the NCAA tournament for the first time. She demanded much of her arm, and for the most part, despite the workload, despite the abuse, that right arm responded. Until it didn't.
I was actually throwing a really great game against Merrimack College, and I'll never forget it. It was a drop pitch, and I threw it, and I thought they were using wooden bats at the time because it sounded like a wooden bat broke. And you know, after that, I tried to come back from it, but I ended up having surgery that summer because I literally I tore all the ligaments in my shoulder, had a slight avulsion fracture, a pull fracture, and yeah, it was heart-wrenching because, boy, we had high hopes for that senior year. Really had high hopes.
Dr. Sheri Russell is a licensed, certified athletic trainer and a licensed chiropractor. She is the Russell Center for Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. She has owned a women's professional football team. And everything that Sheri Russell is now, in some way, goes back to that one moment on the pitcher's mound.
What it gave to me was the understanding, number one, of being an athlete at the height of your performance and then having that be taken away. And I have transitioned that into now working with the athletes that I work with, both in a clinical setting but also on the field, in telling them that story so that they understand that I get emotionally, psychologically what it means when an athlete has an injury.
Sheri Russell had always planned on a career in sports medicine, but it was that injury during her senior season, that would determine how she approached her job, how she does her job.
Was it successful statistically? Probably not, but it was successful in every other aspect of my life because the lessons that taught me just fueled my passion for sports medicine, for learning, and for really challenging myself.
Sheri Russell's approach to sports medicine, and probably just about everything else in her life, is very much a holistic one. And that again goes back to that one moment in time, that one moment on the mound.
I didn't want my doctors to just look at me as a shoulder injury, you know. And what we ended up finding out was that my injury didn't necessarily come from something I was doing with my shoulder, it came from something I was doing with my hips. You know, and had I not been working with someone who could understand that whole thing. And that's what holistic medicine is about. It's about looking at the whole situation.
And then there's the question of buying a women's professional football team. The mass mutiny. Russell had been the team's athletic trainer, and the team faced, without an owner, an uncertain future. So Russell, with thoughts of her young niece in her mind, decided to step up.
Here, these women football players finally had been given an opportunity to play something that they wanted to do, and if I didn't step up, it was going to go by the wayside. And I thought, I don't want my niece to be telling that story. You know, not that she would really want to play football, but I just wanted to make sure if she wanted to, she had the opportunity.
That's Dr. Sheri Russell, and we haven't even mentioned her dogs. She raises Newfoundlands, and yes, life is good.
My dogs make me happy. My friends make me happy. My niece and my nephew make me happy. Helping people, you know. One of the greatest things that I still, after 16, 17 years in practice, that puts a smile on my face is when people say, hey, that's my doc. Hey, here's my doc, you know. It's nice to have ownership.